1, 2. Hey, everybody, welcome to Cooking. Oh, nope, it's not Cooking with CJ. It's the Hot Seat with CJ. You know, you get used to doing something, the same way for a while, sometimes you mess up. Oh, well. All right, so I'm going to let it roll just a couple seconds just to make sure that all the advertising's been done.
What can I say?
Whoever, is that you, Kent?
Guilty.
Guilty. Hit mute, baby. Hit mute.
Hit mute.
Let's see here. All right, so it looks like everybody should be here. The advertisement should have rolled by now. Again, welcome to the Hot Seat. I'm CJ from Cooking with CJ. Tonight we have a great guest. We have the Cookout Coach. We have Steve from the Cookout Coach. I know we're trying to figure that out. Cookout Coach. And he's agreed to join us tonight. He was actually scheduled a few months down the road, but we were able to bump him up and get him in the spot. So I appreciate him coming on. Kind of short notice. It worked out pretty well. Of course, I want to shout out my co-host with the most, Kent there. Shut up, Kirby. Say hi to the people, Kent.
Hi, people.
Right on. All right, cool. Of course, my moderators doing things in the chat. We got I see Dan from SmokeyGoodness, Hobo Nichol BBQ's in there. I haven't seen Red yet. I've seen Kirby. I haven't seen Scotty yet. And I'm sure Jay will be jumping on pretty soon. Let's see here. Let's get the shouts to the chat. Everybody that's graced us with their presence tonight. We have Kris from Bottle Cap BBQ. Shane from Never Trust a Skinny Chef. Tom's Food Factory. Tom, I love the name change, by the way. Works out really well. Of course, we got Keith Bettag keeping track of the stats tonight. How many viewers we got? Jim Littler. See Jim from Suburban Barbecue. Smoking Jazz Barbecue. Christy's Cooking Channel. Food for Men. Nigel's on. Nigel got a shout out on another cooking show. I guess he dropped a super chat for Steve on Not Another Cooking Show, so he put it up on his Instagram, so that's very cool. Nigel, you're going worldwide, brother. I see John from 1984 Barbecues here. Tony Two-Tone is in the house. Ray Guy. Lewis from Our Shack Barbecue LT. Mike the Culinary Cookhouse. Let's see here. Kirby Q's in the house. Let's see here. And Meat Cranium. Meathead's in the house. How you doing, Meat? All right, guys. So I'll shout out more people as I see them. If I missed you, I'm sorry. Throw a hand up in the chat. Whew. Takes a little bit of a minute there, right there, Steve. I'm tired with that. I need to take a break. There's Jay. All right. So say hi to the people there, Steve.
How's it going, everybody? CJ, thanks for having me on here. It's awesome. I love the Hot Seat. I watch it as long as I can stay awake every week. It's just awesome for the community.
Oh, that's awesome, man. I appreciate it. Real quick, shout out to Mrs. CJ for the background. Very festive. We're #naughty. We got a tree up. I feel like I should have like a smoking jacket on with a pipe or a cigar, but we're in the house, so we don't smoke in the house. We got Bad Beast Barbecue. Daryl, what's up? How you doing, brother? You ready to get started? Wait. What are you sipping on there? That looks a little brown and cold. What is it?
It is. That's a little bit of the Jack left from the Jack. When I went down to the comp at the distillery, of course, they give you – I was amateur, so we only got a pint, but still finishing the last bit of that off, just savoring it. I haven't decided if I'm going to drink the whole bottle, just keep a little bit, for just remember the times. But for now, I'm still working on it.
That's awesome, man. You leave that around some of these people in the chat, that'd be gone well, case in point, it'd be gone in like a half hour, so you're good. See Kris, Eastwood Farms, how you doing? Cool. All right, you ready for the questions? You ready to get going?
Let's do this.
All right, brother. All right, so let's start off with the hard one. Where are you from, my brother?
I'm from North Central West Virginia, which is nowhere. Like the whole state has less population than the city of Atlanta, so not near any centers of like culinary excellence or I do barbecue channel, and there's no such thing as West Virginia barbecue. I'm just in the middle of nowhere, man.
Right on, right on. How yeah, I was about to lead into some other questions I'm gonna ask, but I want to go through these first couple. What's your family life like? Wife, kids, all that stuff?
Yeah, no, it's great. Wife, 2 kids, 2 girls, both young, 6 and 2. Had a dog that literally just passed away on Tuesday, so that's what it is. But yeah, no, it's awesome family life.
All right, on, right on. And what is it you do besides YouTube creator?
So by day, I'm just a software developer. So I mean, I came from the world of cube farms. Now at least I sit in an office with a window, so that's always a plus. But yeah, write code and daydream about barbecue.
Right on. That's cool. That's cool. I haven't seen Mega Fred yet, so I'm not going to ask you this question just yet. We got Maria Gomez is in the house. Hola. See here. Scooter Too Cool, Rowdy Smoke, Miss Boog's in the house. Sal's in the house. I think that covers everybody for now. Let's see here. All right. Well, let's talk about your channel name. Where did that come up with, dude?
So anybody who's known my channel from the beginning would know that I used to be called DQ'd BBQ. And that all came from before I ever decided to start a YouTube channel. I knew I wanted to get into competition barbecue. And I knew I was going to make my brother help me. So our last name is Dotson. And so I was like, all right. So the thing about competition barbecue names is they're one of 2 things. They're usually a little bit punny and sort of a little bit serious. So I was like, all right, let's think about this. And it came out DQ'd barbecue and Dotson barbecue, but DQ'd in a competition scene has a different meaning. So I was like, that's funny. So like, okay, that's going to be it. And I went around, I told people, this is my competition team. Nobody understood it. Literally nobody I knew understood it. The other coders I work with, they assumed it was like a code thing. So in software, you've got data structures like arrays and whatever, and you enqueue and dequeue things. So they thought it was that. I was like, no, it's not that at all. It's just my name plus barbecue. And I don't know. It was some weird, wild hair. I decided I was going to start a YouTube. Actually, I'll tell you what it was. I was watching Justin over at the Baby Back Maniac, and he did a video on start a YouTube channel with an iPhone. I was like, well, I got an iPhone. I'm going to be cooking a lot of barbecue to get ready for this comp. So let's go ahead and throw some videos out there. So I called it DQ'd Barbecue. Well, long story short, if you Googled or if you YouTube DQ'd Barbecue, like it wouldn't even show up my channel. This is after I had several videos up. Like it wasn't the algorithm couldn't find me. It just thought you meant squid barbecue. And squid barbecue isn't anything that I know a darn thing about. So I was like, well, all right. So I went back and actually Justin again over Baby Back Maniac was like, you need to change that. Nobody's going to be able to find you. I was like, all right. So I thought about it. And I kind of got to thinking about what it is that we actually try to do over at my channel. And what it really breaks down to is I used to be the guy who had no barbecue joints around me, but I really love good barbecue. So I struggled for probably, I don't know, 2 or 3 years trying to figure out how to make great barbecue. And now, with a little bit more knowledge under my belt, I understand it's not that hard to do as long as you have a clear guidelines, clear roadmap to follow to do it. So I went back and watched some of my videos and realized that all I do in my videos is just try to take some of the steepness out of that learning curve for other people who try to make good barbecue. So I was like, well, let's try to come up with something that's easy to remember, not necessarily catchy, but something will stick in your head. And I was like, Cookout Coach. I like the alliteration. This is what we try to do. That's kind of where I landed.
All right, cool. Do you actually take time to help out other teams or anything like that? Like, do you coach?
So I haven't coached anybody yet. I do help out some other teams. I haven't been hands-on yet, but I do have a few viewers who actually compete near me. And they'll ask me questions, and I'll gladly tell them what I'm doing. And matter of fact, if you want to know how I compete, it's all on my channel, with the exception of there are a few rubs and sauce combinations that I've gotten from some pros that they've asked me to keep on the DL, but it's not that far off from what I'm using on the channel anyways. And if anytime anybody asks me, what would I do with this? How would you put this together? I give them a full on honest review. So I haven't laid hands on anybody to help them out coaching, if you know what I mean. Like nobody at the comps has recognized me yet,
Right.
but I've definitely given several people some input on, I understand what you're trying to do and I understand you like this flavor, but let's try to steer it this way. I think you'll have a lot more success.
Okay. Very cool. Very cool. Let's take a breath real quick. I want to shout out a couple more people that have shown up. We see world supporters in there. Joey B, the real Joey B. Big Ray Max in the house. What's up, Big Ray? Deborah Frank Stevens, welcome. It's a new to my channel, I think. So appreciate you being here. KC from What's New Barbecues in the house. So I think that kind of catches up. Everybody in there. Keith Bet Tags keeping track. We got 44 people watching right now. It's a great night. Very cool. Just 8 is here. I think that covers it all. All right. Let's see here. Let's ask Mega Fred's question. I don't think he's going to show up. Usually he's early and one of the first people if he's going to be here. So we'll ask it and then we'll remind him later if he shows up. But what's your favorite music, bands, all that stuff?
Yeah, so that's a great question because I love music and it has changed a lot over time. So used to be I was a huge metalhead. Like to this day, Zakk Wylde and the Black Label Society the man's just incredible on guitar, and I'll still go back to that constantly. Pantera, Metallica, Megadeth, all that stuff. But I mean, as you get a little older, you start to get more nostalgic. So I go back to like 90s alt rock all the time. Pearl Jam, Third Eye Blind, all the weird alt poppy stuff that, was a thing when we were in high school and stuff. I go back to that. I grew up on Skynyrd, 70s, Southern rock, CCR, even though CCR is from San Francisco. That blew my mind the first time I learned that. And then nowadays, like, I don't know, I can listen to anything and respect a talented musician. Like sometimes Ed Sheeran will drop something and I'm like, that cat he can do everything. So, I mean, I listen, and of course I grew up in West Virginia. We listen to country music here. That's what we do.
Right.
And 90s country was way different than the bro country of today. But like, Alabama, Brad Paisley's from West Virginia. So we got to love Brad Paisley. That's sort of a catch-all answer, I guess, but pretty much everything.
Right on, man. I'm with you on the country. I was raised on the old school stuff, and I'm a 90s kid too. So, Garth Brooks and the fancy shirts and the button-ups and all that jazz. I was big on that. So I'm with you.
Yeah.
I know she didn't say Justin Timberlake, so clearly you're not that big of a music fan.
I got mad respect for Justin Timberlake. That's another cat that is just ridiculous talented. And I should have known to answer that after watching The Hot Seat, but
that's man. I love just throwing it out there. It's a good time. You got to give credit where credit's due, and he's talented, but I mean, he's no favorite. Like Kent has Justin Bieber. He loves Kent. Kent loves him to Justin Bieber. He's telling me he's #1 in the book right now. I see Phil and Florence is here. How you doing, brother? Let's see here. I think that's all I saw run through. If I missed you guys, throw a hand up. Throw your hands up in there. Let me know. Wave them like you don't care. Tom's Tinkering Adventures. Welcome. JT. I love it. All right, man. Kent, do you have any questions written down just yet?
You know what? I do have a couple.
Right. I'm going to take a break and a drink. Cheers.
Slacker. All right. First one is from Hobo Nichol. He says, Steve, if you're going to keep a small amount of that jack, make sure you put it in the correct size container. If you leave it in the original container with all the air, it's going to go taste like crap in a year. So
gotcha.
he just wanted to throw that out for you.
Yeah, appreciate him looking out there. Like I said, I didn't take a top 10 finish. I finished 12th at the jack. So that little pint bottle is pretty much my trophy. So like I said, if I don't drink it all, I'll definitely heed his advice there.
There you go. All right. Meat Cranium has a question for you. Do you have any more comps planned coming up?
Yes, I was just working on my competition schedule the other day, trying to get it lined out. I was actually, well, I'll go ahead and let you know. I haven't let anybody else on my channel know yet, but 2019 we're going to be doing some things with Char Griller, and they were curious about what my schedule is looking like for 2019 because they want to come out to one of the comps I'm going to be at. And so I've got, let's see, April I've got a steak cook. April I've got a competition in Hagerstown. May I've got a competition. June is the West Virginia State Championship, so I got to go represent there. Hopefully we'll take it home this year. July, there's an MBN competition in Galax, which MBN is a little bit different. There's a little bit of a dog and pony show, some on-site judging to it. So that just speaks to me as, you know, I get on YouTube in front of people and talk about barbecue all the time. So I was all about to have to do that. Then the KCBS hasn't updated everything for next year yet. It's still pretty early, but I'm hoping to get, you know, one in a month. And then if we're lucky, maybe we'll draw the jack again next year, go back and try to beat up on some of those Bama boys that put it to us.
There you go. The jack, that's gotta be a good time there.
Oh, that was a cool event. Like, I don't get too I don't want to say nervous, but too shook by competitors, but those boys knew what they were doing, and you could tell just the posturing. It was pretty awesome.
How many teams were there again, Steve? I know you said it in your video, but I don't remember.
Yeah, so there were 42 of the Shade Tree competitors. So, like, that'll rival the size of a pro comp in a lot of places. The pros were there too. I can't remember the number of pros, but as far as the guys that I was up against, there were 42 of us.
Who won grand? Was that Butcher Barbecue?
Butcher Barbecue took the pro grand, yeah. Butcher Barbecue took number one, and Iowa Smokey D's reserved it.
My boy Darren.
Darren knows what's up. Yeah. Like
he's cool dude.
Oh, have you met him?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, dude, I would love to meet Darren and pick his brain for just a second, like just a few questions. Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah, he's cool. So, one last question, then it's back to you, Mr. Bieber. Christy's Cooking Channel. Steve, what is your last meal request?
My last meal, like if I'm going out, my last meal request?
Like you're done last meal request.
Like death row style, man.
I mean, I ain't looking to go anytime soon. So, like, can we do one of those Argentinian whole steers where they just put the whole thing on the spit? Buy myself as much time as possible.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
If we're going by just what I want to eat, I mean, it's going to be spare ribs. That's who I am.
Right on.
No argument on that one here. That's for sure.
I'm with you, brother.
All right. Back to you, boss. Get to work.
All right, cool. I don't want to ask it, but I'm just going to get it out of the way. Our buddy Meathead, Meat Cranium, has some questions for the guy you work for on Tuesday nights. Are you going to be dropping them next week? He listed a bunch for you.
All right. Yeah, no, I saw. So the way those work, I don't watch the chat.
Okay.
Because I just get too horrible doing two things at once, essentially. So whenever we're doing those chats, those are all questions that I've gathered ahead of time, and we don't really ask live questions. So, I go back through and annotate all the questions we answered, and I watched the live chat. And I saw those questions that came up, and they were good questions. So I'll get them on the list, and yeah, seemed very relevant.
Good. All right, that's all we're gonna say about that today. All right, I'm gonna shout out. Let's see here. We got Bill from Chicken Fried Barbecue, which has got to be one of the all-time barbecue names. Chicken Fried Barbecue. I love it, man. So Heather Baker and Charlie Baker, otherwise AKA known as Pickles Barbecue, is in the house. See here, and Saint 1000. I think that catches up everybody. If I didn't mention you in the chat just yet, throw your hand up. Let me know. Give me a wave. Say what's up. There is a young lady in the chat, Maria Gomez, that is typing stuff in Spanish. So if anybody would like to translate, yo no habla español. So, ¿dónde está la biblioteca? That's about all I got. So, or cerveza. So, that's where we're at. So if you guys can hook it up, one of the mods, use Google Translate. I'd love to answer her questions if we can. All right. So you have the label Pitmaster on your almost said, she says Timberlake sucks. Oh my gosh.
That's just purple.
Oh, hey, Red. Red wants to deck these halls. Oh, that's so funny. Anyway, what made you, like, obviously you're a pitmaster, but what qualifies you as a pitmaster?
Yeah, so the reason the shirt says Pitmaster is just because I had these made for going to the Jack. And so just because I was the head cook on the team, I went ahead and put Pitmaster on mine. And my brother and my dad went with me, so that made it awesome. And I went ahead and put Pit Crew on theirs. But, I mean, so to define yourself as a pitmaster, everybody's going to have a different interpretation of what that means. Like, if you really want to get hardcore about it, I wouldn't call yourself a pitmaster until, a lot of people say the whole hog is the granddaddy of barbecue. And until you do that, you don't really deserve the title of pitmaster. But me, as long as you're out there trying to master your pit, if you're committed to the craft, who cares what other people think about what you call yourself, Make it your own.
I'm with you, man. That is cool. I just want to make sure, like, if you've got the special Dakota ring or whatever,
I wish. Drink more Ovaltine.
Drink more Ovaltine. There you go. Then I noticed on your wrist you're wearing a bracelet of some sort. Tell us about that one.
Yes, and it's kind of funny. Nobody's ever actually asked about that. I figured for sure because it'll be a year, I think, December 11th that I've been doing YouTube, and nobody's ever asked about that. And what that is my oldest daughter, who is 6 now. When she was born with chronic heart disease. It's got a long name, but it's pretty much a 1 in a million birth defect. There's no reason for it; it just randomly happens. And but so we had a pretty tough first year, a little bit tough second year, but it's good now. We're 6, but that it just says Addie has a little heart. It says Prayer Warriors on the bottom side, and we spent a lot of time in the hospital that first year, and they did these bracelets as a fundraiser for us. So that was, I don't know. It's just we're pretty good these days, but it's just a reminder, to be grateful.
Right on. That's very sweet. Well, I'm glad she's doing all right now.
Thank you, brother.
They only put in front of us what we can handle, right? So good stuff, brother. All right. Well, that's kind of like in the middle of, what makes you a pit master. And my next question is kind of odd little break in there, but what's your favorite part of doing comps besides winning, of course?
Oh my God. Well, so here's the weird thing, right? I've only done 2 comps so far. I didn't win the first one. I took third. I took third by was it 2.2 points? Which, when you break it down to where I lost points, I lost some points in taste on some ribs from a judge that just wasn't a fan, and they're weighted scores. So it's like if I would have got one more point in taste on ribs, I would have taken that comp. But the guy I lost to is actually a great dude. His name's Kris. He runs a team up in Pennsylvania called Brother Uncle BBQ, and dude knows what is going on. He's the one that keyed me into the Jack. So I got the Jack out of 40 teams. We took 12th overall, which is, that's okay, but I'm coming out there to win. And essentially what it boils down to is I was a high school athlete, loved to compete. I still love to compete. If I wasn't cooking barbecue, I'd be playing golf and trying to lower scores. It's just, I don't know, it's in me to compete, and it's in me to chase, I don't want to say perfection because that kind of makes me sound a little obnoxious, but to chase something to the best ability that I can get it to. And I mean, when you can measure that in the form of a competition, like, let's throw down. I want to do it. I'm
with you on that too. Obviously, Ken and I are both, former athletes too, and we are very competitive. I want to be the best at everything. I want to be the best at the YouTube game. You know, I want everything we do. I want to be the best in. Even when I hire people in my office, I ask if they're old athletes because I want them to be the best and be competitive and all that. So it's a big deal. So I'm with you on that.
Yeah, so, there's some kind of drive in people like us that just, you know, if I'm going to do something, I'm going to go after it all the way. And there's plenty of people that aren't like that in barbecue, which I totally get it. It's a laid back thing, but I can still be the best at laying back.
Right. Yeah. I'm with you on that. It's some people like say they're doing it for fun and, you know, can just kind of roll through it and all that. But, you know, the most part, you want to win. You want to take it down. Red, I am not tired. I'm doing all right, but thanks for asking. Maybe my eyes are a little heavy. I've been running around in my mind. Oh, snap. That was a good one, Red. He said, I've been running around his mind all day. That's why I'm tired. Oh, so you got me right there, Red. Oh, sorry, man. You know, Red does his own thing in the chat. We just follow along. It's Red world. We just live in it. So
Red kills me.
I love that guy. Seriously. See, real quick, Tom Horsman's in the house. How you doing, Tom? Cooking with James. Is it still cooking or is it cooking? James, you changed your name yet? Yep, he changed it. Cooking with James. James added the G to it. Oh, and Scotty, if you're in for the grills here, one of our other mods, welcome, Scotty. I'm glad you're able to make it. Very cool. All right. If you guys, I know I haven't said it yet, but I think we're all kind of, you know, obviously familiar with this. But if you have questions for Steve or Kent or myself, put it in the chat. Make it bold. Make it at Kent Vandyweird or Daddy Dutch, whatever's available. And he'll ask the questions. Do you have any right now? Give me a what's up. Yes, no?
I got 2 right now. So
all right. Why don't you go ahead and ask him? Use that fancy new computer.
All right. Bill from Chicken Fried Barbecue. Steve, any plans on ever cooking at the American Royal?
So I would love to cook the Royal. The Jack was one thing I wanted to cook, and obviously I'd like to cook these things as pro. I didn't cook the Jack as pro, I cooked as amateur, but when you talk about major competitions, to me there's 3, some people there's 4, but you've got the Jack, and to me it's sort of like golf, right? You got the Jack, which is like the Masters. You got the Royal, which is like it's like the American Open, and you got Memphis in May, which is more like a British Open. It's more of a dog and pony show, history in that. I would love to cook all of those. The thing is, I got to get a little bigger first. And really, someone asked me what my whole goal was for YouTube. I'm just looking to find a way to fund the competition habit. And if I can do that and move up to pro, I would absolutely love to, you know, grant some comps and win my way into the Invitational and do the Open. But Kansas City's a long way for me. But, you know, if we get on that level, I would totally do the Open or the Open and the Invitational.
Yeah, that I'm only about 5.5 hours north of that, so I'd love to go down to Kansas City for the weekend. But you need a healthy bank account if you're going to bankroll yourself down in Kansas City. I know that. Yeah,
that's and so a lot of people do it by throwing a big party the night before. But the thing is, like we just talked about, I take it pretty serious, and I don't think I'd be willing to throw a party to fund it just to be tired the next day for the event that I really wanted to be there for. That just doesn't make sense to me.
Well, you come over, and then I'll come down, and I'll host the party, and you can cook.
Sounds like a plan.
I'm flying out too, dude. I hear that KC event is just the shit, so everybody wants to be there.
Yeah, it's an amazing party.
My boss went down there the last couple of years, and he said, you know, he goes, it's a zoo. It really is. It's an absolute zoo on that Thursday and Friday. So, which he was all right with. He likes that. So,
there you go.
All right. Last question. Ray Mac wants to know, do you ever use mustard as a binder in your comps?
I only use mustard as a binder. So here's the thing. My first comp I did was only 30-ish minutes from my house, but it was the West Virginia State Championship, and I forgot my mustard, but I had olive oil with me because I was doing an SCA competition the night before. And I always say it doesn't make a difference, but I always use mustard as a binder all the time. So the day the competition rolls in, I use olive oil. Those ribs didn't come out the same. And I cooked without mustard a few more times after that at the house. And the ribs weren't coming out the same way that I was practicing before the Almost Heaven barbecue bash. So I switched back to mustard. And I know I shouldn't be able to taste the difference. And it's probably all in my head. But to me, my ribs taste better when I use a mustard binder. Now, it could be the fact that I use mustard reminds me to do something else. I don't know. But for whatever reason, when I use a mustard binder, those ribs come out on point.
I agree.
To use mustard, man.
Huh?
I can't bring myself to use mustard. I hate the smell, the texture, I don't even want it near me.
You got to try it.
I can't. So I can tell you what I noticed. And again, correlation without causation or whatever you want to say. For whatever reason, when I use mustard on those ribs, as opposed to an oil or nothing, the top bit under the bark stays more moist. Now, you don't taste mustard at all, but it's just more moist. And it's not – sometimes if you overcook ribs just a little bit, and of course in comp, you're trying to take it right up to that point of falling off the bone without falling off the bone. And that's sort of that razor's edge of perfection. So it's like right on the line of being overcooked, but not overcooked. And I don't know why, but when I cook with mustard, it preserves that top layer a little better. It keeps it from drying out.
So Dan from SmokeyGoodness just said, low and slow, the mustard loses the flavor during the low and slow. So you don't taste the mustard at all?
Not at all. And I don't really cook low and slow. I'm like, I run most things at 275, which depending on who you ask, that's either the top end to low and slow or the bottom end to hot and fast.
Right. All right, cool. Kid, what about you? Do you use mustard?
Yes.
All right, cool. All
just regular French's ballpark mustard. That's it.
That's all I've seen before too.
I had a buddy that actually tried it. He wanted to change up his flavor a little bit, and he tried using like the Dijon mustard.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, DAL, dead ass last.
No shit, really?
They didn't like it.
Yeah,
he was last out of 12 teams, and he's normally in a 10 to 12 team cook. He's normally top 3.
Yeah, I've had some people ask me about using honey mustard, which makes a little more sense to me. But why mess with a good thing?
Right.
I roll the exact same way, fellas. French's classic yellow.
Yes.
Well, if you obviously you've I don't say perfected, but you've got your deal down right now, you're not going to change it up right now. So
exactly.
All right, cool. Duncan 1900 Homestead, how you doing, man? Welcome. See here. Ken, you said you just had those two. Did you get any more while we were chatting?
I got one from Christy's cooking channel. Steve, she wanted to know if you were using your iPhone for this right now.
No, for this I got a MacBook Air that I use. It's older, but it'll do in a pinch. That's what I thought about using my iPhone for this, but the few live streams I've been doing recently, I've been doing it with a MacBook, and I didn't want to try to change it up. Camera's not great on it, and the mic's not perfect on it, but it'll do.
Buddy, you don't want high definition on our mugs, dude. You just want to keep it low key.
We got one guy who just got a Chromebook, and he's used to working on an iPad, so he keeps reaching up like this and trying to scroll the screen, and that doesn't work on a Chromebook.
Yeah.
I'm mentioning that for a friend.
Nice. Mo's Black Gold Barbecue, how you doing? Welcome. If Mike the Culinary Cookhouse is in the chat, I'd really like to thank him personally. He dropped a super chat a couple of weeks ago for like $50, and not that I wasn't going to get Kent the computer anyway, but it really did help towards it. So all the super chats that I've gotten the last few weeks, really just gone towards Kent's Christmas bonus fund. So we really appreciate you guys dropping the super chats. It doesn't get you anything on the channel. I'm going to ask you questions whether you drop one or not, but it really is appreciated. Never expected, always appreciated. So thanks to you guys. Let's see here. Let's get on your channel. How did you start YouTube? What made you want to do it? Was it just watching Justin, or did you, have another desire?
Yeah, no, so I guess I'll date myself a little bit here. I started college in 2006, and 2005 is when YouTube dropped, or when Google acquired them, one of the two. It was when YouTube started to get big, and pretty much from that point on, like, I am a product review junkie. Like, if I'm thinking about buying anything, like I'll go and watch all these reviews on Audi R8s. I'm not buying an R8, but I want to know about it. If something happens and I hit the super lotto or whatever, I need to know these things. So I've been watching YouTube forever, and I always thought, man, I love this platform. And I had a few creators that I'd like to watch. I was like, oh, I really think this would be awesome to do. But I never really had anything that I could think of that I was passionate enough about that I thought I could add more value than the creators that had already existed. Step into barbecue a little bit, and I had spent, like I said, a few years struggling trying to figure some things out, figure out how to do things on pits that, in my brain weren't barbecue pits. Like, I started out with a 22-inch Weber kettle. I was like, well, how in the world do I make this work? And so I spent a few years, in the grind trying to perfect everything. And then I finally got it figured out. And then I got that bug. And when I got the bug to compete, then I was like, all right, I gotta push this to see how do we take my skills and take them to the next level. And then when I got to think about it, I was like, I finally have something that I think I can add value to people by jumping onto YouTube. And I don't know, and I remember it was a weird night. I couldn't sleep for just random reasons. So I started cruising on YouTube, and that's when I knew I was going to get a new Kamado last year. And that's when I found Justin, because Justin is the Kamado guy on YouTube, and he's got all the videos on all the big brands. I was like, all right, this is awesome. I'd never seen his channel before then. And so I start watching through everything because I'm not sleeping anyways. I might as well just go through his catalog. And I hit that video, and I was like, you know what? Let's go ahead and do this. Let's go ahead and film one and see how it comes out. We'll try to be as professional possible. And if it comes out as garbage, we'll call it a failed experiment. But I did it. It came out okay. And what happened was I actually got some comments from some people I know that were like, this actually helped me out a lot. This is, I never knew how to make. The first video I ever made was fall off the bone baby back ribs. And they were like, I could never get ribs to come out right. And this video helped me figure it out. And I was like, well, okay, if that's really adding value to people, let me see what else I can do. And then it became, we got some things figured out technically to where it became easier to make videos. And then it became a chase. And it's like, okay, well, now I want to figure out how to grow on YouTube. How do you do that while still adding value to people? And yeah, it was on at that point.
Right on. Now, I've noticed I think we all kind of paid attention. I don't want to lose that thought. Hold on real quick. Everybody who's dropping the super chats, I'm serious. It's appreciated. They're giving super chats, loving each other. So that's sweet. Guys, Christy's cooking channel will be on next Thursday. Do not offer any super chats to make Christy do things. Okay? You guys be polite in the chat. Miss Booger, stop it. You guys are out of control. Out of control. But Red, Miss Booger, Scotty dropping the Canadian money. I don't know what the exchange rate is. I think it's like, 1-to-1 or something like that. Hobo's being a cheap ass, dropping $1 at a time. Let's see here. And Nigel dropped a couple pounds. Very cool. Thank you, guys. It's really sweet. Shit, I lost my train of thought.
Yeah.
I don't know if you got the chat up, but can you see it? Just everybody's dropping these little chats.
Oh, yeah. Hobo's making you work for it.
I know. Hobo, I'll try to get a candle up soon. I don't have room for it, but we'll figure it out. So when we noticed that you came in, Hobo, your messages aren't showing because you're only dropping $1. You know, if you put $100 in there, we'll definitely read your message. Anyway, so when you came on, we noticed that I don't say we, myself, and I'm sure others did. You came in with kind of a good setup. Like you had your microphone. It almost does feel like you kind of studied what you're doing and then got into it. Is that about right? And then kind of worked on it from there. Did you have a plan as you started, basically?
Yeah. So I started it with a wow. Okay. So I've got a cousin who he's pretty much my best bro, and we're just always doing stuff together to help each other out. And so I sent him a message, and I was like, "Hey, what are you doing next Saturday?" And this was like Friday night, so 8 days before. It's like nothing. I was like, "Want to come help me make a YouTube video?" It's like, "Sure." So my whole plan was like, let's just film it on an iPhone and call it good. So it gets to like Wednesday. He's like, maybe you should get a mic because that might change the quality of your video a lot. So I was like, okay. So I bought like a $20 lapel mic with an extension and like a $15 tripod, even though he was going to come be my cameraman just for some still shots. That's where we started at, with about like a $35 investment. And I still use it's an iPhone 7. Yeah, it's an iPhone 7 Plus. And yeah, we were just like, let's roll with this and see what it does. And the only problem that I had from the get-go was I couldn't figure out how to make my mic would pop a little hot sometimes. And I just wasn't smart enough to figure it out how to fix it. But yeah, I did do some quick searches. Like what's the most bang for my buck on making the quality as good as it can without dropping a whole bunch of money on something I don't know what I'm going to do. And so I came up with a lapel mic with an extension so I can get away from it a little bit, and a tripod. And if you go back and watch some of those early videos, like setting up shots, you'd see my little extender dangling. It is what it is. Yeah. Especially, so my cousin helped me shoot the first video, and he was a great cameraman. Was where he needed to be. Well, then the next time I was like, I'm going to shoot one before I go into work. And I suddenly didn't have a cameraman. And I suddenly didn't know how to get those shots on my own. So in the beginning, you'll see my extension cords dangling or it'll just be a weird shot sometimes. But it was just part of the learning curve. I did my best to go to other channels like T-Roy Cooks, and I'd ask him in his chats, how do you get your shots as a one-man crew? And I'd ask other one-man crews, essentially, how do you set up and do this? And, what do I need to make this happen? I still ask you. I was just talking to Steve from Not Another Cooking Show the other day because I still shoot on an iPhone.
Yeah.
I was like, what camera do you use? Because your stuff looks amazing. So he told me, I haven't made that kind of investment yet, but I'm just always trying to figure out for the next bit of money, what's the biggest return on investment? And that's pretty much just student of the game.
Right. Well, there's been a couple of comments about your cord dangling. So yeah. I knew once you said that, Red was just going to jump all over that. He jumps on dangling cords, I guess.
On the cord.
Nigel, thanks again, brother. You really don't need to do that, but it's all appreciated. All right, cool. So we talked about your channel name. How long have you been doing this? It's been less than a year, right? Or right around a year?
Yeah, so I would have to go back and look, but I'm pretty sure I dropped my first video December 11th of last year.
Okay, so it's just
right before Christmas.
Right there, yeah. Mm-hmm. All right, cool. When you learned about how to set everything up, you're learning as you go. Do you do kind of like what I do is I watch like video influencers. I don't just watch cooking channels. I watch, video influencers is one of them. And then what's the other guy? Steve Schmoyer. I forgot. Or Tim Schmoyer.
Yeah, no.
So I actually watch all that stuff to try to get better at what I'm doing.
Yeah, so I don't. I definitely don't do YouTube to make money.
No, not yet.
But yeah, but I mean, if it's possible, I'm not going to not try to set myself up to do a good job to do that. So yeah, the Sean Cannell video influencer stuff, I love that. I eat that up. Tim Schmoyer, he just did a Black Friday sale for one of his courses. I jumped on that. I mean, and I think that all goes back to that competitive thing, like you were talking about earlier. Is if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this to the best that I can within a certain amount of reason. But yeah, if there's free info out there on how to get better at doing stuff, right, I'm all about it.
There's tons of that stuff going on, man. And it's even kind of what we were talking about before we went live. I kind of got a little lazy there with the inside shots. I just used my one light, but my camera's taken a dump recently, so I'm not using my camera anymore. I can't. It's not worth fixing it. So I am using my iPhone 7 again to film, right? And so I decided I'm going to take the time to set up my umbrella lights, set up the mic, set up the sound. The last one, I think it had the mic a little too close. It was being, I could hear myself yelling a little bit, but I'm still trying to do different things. I want to be better. I'm learning new things, the cutout with the video in, whatever, slow-mo, fast mode, whatever, you want to try to make it interesting because we are kind of showing people how to cook stuff, but you also want it to be, aesthetically pleasing and fun to watch and have fun, right? Yeah,
at the end of the day, we're entertainment. This is how people are unwinding at the end of the day. Yeah.
So it's one of those things. It's like I know I'm not the best cook around, or I'm new at barbecuing. As far as the truest sense of it, I've had a gas grill since I was 19 or whatever. But I got a Weber now. I got a pit barrel. I love doing these cooks on these deals. I did that freaking brisket on the Weber today, and it was awesome. It's just amazing. It's like I would spend money to go to barbecue joints, and in California, it's not good barbecue. I mean, it's adequate barbecue. You're gonna enjoy it, but I want to learn from you guys on how to make the good barbecue, the competition style barbecue, and put it on my grill and put it in, in front of my family, So that's kind of what I was thinking about it,
Mm-hmm.
All right, cool. Let's see here. Let's see. What are you filming? Cookers. What is your favorite thing to cook with? What do you use the most? I love your. That must have been a question for Kent because he just went like this. I seen your 26-inch Weber kettle. But what else are you wrong with there?
So these days I have a problem. I've got two 22-inch Weber Smoky Mountains. Those are my competition twins. I've got the 26-inch kettle with the slow and sear. I've got a Char-Griller Eggcorn that has the table set up. And I've got a 22-inch Weber kettle that never sees light of day anymore now that I have the 26. As far as what my favorite is, that really all depends on what I'm doing. If I'm just going to smoke something, okay. If I'm going to smoke a lot of stuff, I can't beat the capacity of a Smoky Mountain. It does the job extremely well. If it's going to be a longer cook and I've got stuff to do, or right now, like this time of year when it starts to get cold and those ambient temperatures fluctuate pretty hard and you get some whipping winds, I can't beat the Eggcorn for its ability to hold temps. But on an average day, if I'm just going to cook something, I'm going to drag that 26-inch with the slow and sear out all day because it's fast to light. It's I'm up and cooking within a half an hour. Even on smokes, I'm up and rolling within just a little bit. It's here's one thing about the Eggcorn that is not necessarily a downfall, but for me it is. I always cover my stuff back up when I'm done cooking on it. But that Eggcorn holds that temp so well when I shut it down, I've got to wait 2 hours before I feel comfortable putting the cover on it. Otherwise, I'm afraid I'm going to burn my house down.
Yeah.
The kettle, I shut it down. It's good to go within a half an hour. And it's just versatile, so versatile, and it's huge. Like seriously, if you've never seen a 26-inch Weber kettle in person, I was like, how big could this thing be? And I got the box and opened it up. Actually, I wasn't going to do an unboxing video on it, but I ended up doing it because I got goaded into it because people like to watch unboxing videos. I didn't want to do it because I didn't think I was going to add any value by doing it, but it actually gets a fair amount of views. But I opened that box and I was just like, oh my God, this thing is enormous.
Right.
I could put a suckling pig on this thing if I wanted to. And I'm going to do that one day, actually.
I watched you cook on it. I was like, dude, everybody needs one of those under their Christmas tree for sure.
Yeah, so I went back the other day and I was counting up videos on mainly I was counting how many videos I did with the char griller because that's what I started the channel with. That in a 22-inch kettle, but I did most of my cooks on the egg corn, and it's a lot. Like an overwhelming number of my cooks are on the egg corn. Now I was like, I wonder how many cooks I've recorded on my 26er because I've cooked a ton on that 26er. And the answer is really not enough. I was surprised by the small amount that I've done on the 26er. So there's probably going to be some more 26-inch slow and sear cooks in the future here. Right
on. A couple of new people jumped in the chat. Robert from Soul Food Cooking, Brandon Gurley, and I see Steve from Not Another Cooking Show. Sorry, Steve. Welcome.
Steve from Not Another Cooking Show. That guy makes me hate my video. Like,
yes.
Oh God, I went through and rewatched some of my videos just this morning. I was like, man, these are garbage. Like, I will never get on him or Justin or Google. Oh my God, I'm not going to get on their level.
Yeah. I feel the same way. Watching his stuff and Justin's stuff and T-Roy and all them, they make me want to be a better channel and try to do new things. And it's just amazing what Steve does, for sure. Hey, Mega Fred's in the house. He's late. And Just 8, I keep noticing you're telling people to smash that like button. Don't worry about it. They'll smash it if they want. You don't need to keep throwing that in there, all right? Thanks, sweetie. Let's see. Mega Fred, we talked about your question. It was country music, old school stuff. Justin Timberlake, of course. Yeah, he didn't say that, actually. So anyway, Root Boy Cook, Sal, I think I already shouted you out, but welcome if I didn't. I know Kent is mad at me for asking one of the questions that he had written down. So Kent, my deepest apologies. Tell Kathy you're busy. Sugar tits. Come on.
Stabbing you, brother.
He's ignoring me. All right, moving on. Kent, ask your dang questions.
All right. Well, that was actually that was Daryl, Bad Beast Barbecue's question.
Oh, well, whatever.
And then Bottle Cap kind of followed up with that, wanting to know, and I know it from a previous video, but Steve, you said your comp twins are your two 22-inch WSMs. Is that typically all you bring? Or do you bring a kettle with you or something just in case?
Yeah, so my first comp, I ran the kettle, and I cooked my comp chicken on the kettle, and we ended up putting up, I think we put up a 176, and I know that score because I was like, well, how would we have scored if we were running pro that day? And we would have placed like top 3. Like just for people who don't know, the top end of the scale is 180, and we put it down on that kettle. And I was gonna bring it to the Jack because the Jack, the backyard, you cook. So a normal KCBS backyard competition, you cook chicken and you cook ribs. And so at the West Virginia State Championship, I didn't have the second WSM yet, so I brought that 26er with slow and sear and the WSM, and I cooked the ribs on the WSM, and I cooked chicken on the 26er. So the Jack Shade Tree division, you cook chicken, ribs, and pork. So you're almost running the full pro comp minus the brisket. And I did a test cook, and I had my Smoky Mountain so loaded down. Here's the thing: I didn't want to put things on the lower racks, not because the temperature fluctuates so much, but it can be a real pain to get down in there to work on whatever you got on those lower racks because you've got your temperature probes and everything hooked on that top rack and this, that, and the other. So I did a test cook, and I loaded up the top racks with 2 pork butts, 4 racks of ribs, And then I was hoping things would get done in time so I could pull the pork butts off and cook the chicken. Well, the thing about smokers is the more you have them loaded down with mass, all cookers are cooked by convection. They cook by moving air up through. Well, I had blocked off that top vent enough that it wasn't moving as much air, acting more like an oven. So it slowed down my cook times, and it slowed them down. The pork took an extra hour, the ribs took an extra hour, and the chicken took a half an hour, which in a competition will murder you because the whole thing is you've got a 10-minute window to get food to the judges. So I was dead set. I'm just going to take this out of the equation because I'd cooked everything separately, and I knew what my times were separately. So I was like, I'm going to bring a third cooker, one cooker per each protein. And I started loading up the back of a Dodge Ram 2500. And I got a generator in there and one Smoky Mountain. And I was just like, good Lord, I'm not going to get this 26er. I don't even know if I'm going to get everything in there without the 26er. Long story short, 26er didn't go. I was sort of freaking out that night. Next morning, cleared my head a little bit, got some thoughts through my head. Ended up, I just used the second grate on the Smoky Mountain for ribs, kept the pork to itself, started the pork earlier, let it rest in a cooler for longer. The cook went off fine. But, yeah, I love taking that 26er. Well, I guess it's a long way around, but I love taking that 26-inch kettle if I've got room for it. I actually was just joking with David from Adrenaline Barbecue the other night because I was talking with Steve from Not Another Cooking Show about doing comps. And I was like, we should all get together and run some slow and serious at a comp and just beat the pants off people with like $4,000 offsets because I think that would be hilarious. That's just who I am, I guess.
You'd probably have some pretty butthurt people if you did that.
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of funny when it happens.
Okay, talking about chicken on your 26er, Scott from In for the Grill Barbecue wants to know, what is your secret to getting crispy skin on your competition chicken?
Gotcha. So here's the thing. Competition chicken really doesn't have crispy skin. If you want to pull it off, you can do it. It's hard with competition chicken because there's so much sugar on those. Like that's traditional. That's sweet barbecue chicken. And if you're not careful, you'll burn those sugars. If you want to be cheeky about it, you can do something like put a mayo on it, and the oil in that will crisp that skin. But what I do with my comp chicken is I pull the skin clear off the thigh and cut the fat. And you don't really, people say scrape. You don't really scrape it. You cut it. Harry Sue has a great video on. He slices it at a 45-degree angle and cuts it off. You don't have to do that. If you're well versed enough, you can get that fat under that skin to render out. For me, I pull out. I'm going to try to give myself the best chance I can. So I cut it off because it's just one less thing to worry about. And what happens if you cook it right? And I've got some buddies that I've told them I need to cook competition chicken for because it's a different kind of thing. What happens is that skin like becomes part of that chicken thigh. And they say bite through skin. And some people think they've had bite through skin. I thought I had bite through skin. But when you take a bite through skin on competition chicken, it's not crispy. But like the only way I can really describe it is like, it's kind of like the skin of an apple. Like you take a bite out of an apple, that's the apple peel breaks off perfectly and just comes with it. But you felt that you went through it. You know it's there. But once you take that bite, it's all just part of one thing. That's what perfect competition skin is like. And it is amazing. If you've never cooked it, it's a lot of time. I'm slow when I go through making competition chicken, trimming it up. It'll take me 2 hours to trim 16 pieces of chicken. But it is a different animal. Like, if you've never tried it, give it a shot. And take it up. Here's a little competition secret. I take it up to take your chicken thighs to 200 degrees before you put barbecue sauce on them and glaze them. And it's a different kind of chicken.
I see Baby Bag Maniac said, now I want an apple. Sierra. John from 1984 Barbecue, thank you for the super chat. It's very sweet. I didn't want to interrupt Steve to say thank you, but, very, very sweet. Kid, I know you have a couple more questions, but I just wanted to let Steve know we're coming up on an hour. Are you still going strong? You want to keep going? You good to go?
Yeah, man, I'm good if you are.
All right, cool. All right, go ahead, Kent.
All right, one thing, what you said about the competition chicken and everything, I do my glaze at 195.
Yeah,
and it works a little better for me. That that could be just difference in a ThermoPro too.
Yeah, I don't. So I'll cook it for an hour uncovered, 45 minutes covered, and generally if I'm probing between 195 and 200, I'm happy.
Yep.
Generally, I'll end up around 200, but if I'm at like 195, 196, I'm good.
Yep, I agree. And back to what you said about trimming, it's kind of like a brisket, a comp brisket. I don't think you can ever do too much trimming on one. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'll sit down at the table and I'll just be so frustrated because I'm tired by the end of it. And I was like, none of these are going to be that's what happened to the jack. I was mad that night anyways because I had the issues with storage, and I was like, God, this chicken is terrible. I'm cutting it all wonky and it's not going to work well. And then I got there, I start pulling it out, start seasoning up. Like, no, this is all right. And then I pulled them out and put them on the grill to dry for a second before I glazed them. I was like, these all look perfect. I was like, I could have made like 3 boxes.
Yeah, there you go. So, speaking of competition brisket, Bottle Cap Barbecue wants to know, and I think this for you is going to vary a little bit by which competition you do, but your competition brisket, do you cook it separated, point flat separate, or whole?
So I haven't competed where I have to cook brisket for comp yet, but in my practices I do for it, because I'm going pro eventually. It's just, like I said, I'd like to find a sponsor to take me there before I do. I separate them. To me, if you're going to make burn ends, I want them to have bark on all sides. And I don't know. It always seems like, and I'm not saying you can't do it like Harry Sue again. Actually, over on Justin's channel, does a great job explaining how he just cuts the flat back and exposes the point. But to me, I just go ahead and take it off, and I remove a significant amount of fat because your rub's not going to stick to that fat. It'll render some, but it's not going to be like that kind that's going to render on the inside. And so I separate them. And I know a lot of pros that, like Heath Riles, for example, he crushes it in brisket, scores 180s frequently enough, and he never turns in point. He only does flats.
Yeah. Well, they say if always put your best meat in the box, and if your point's not good, don't put it in there. So, Cooking with James wants to know, have you ever used a pellet cooker in competition?
So I've never actually even cooked on a pellet cooker.
Good man.
That being said, when I went down and did the Myron Mix and Cook, like July, I was talking to David Mixon, who's the Myron's son that runs the company there. Yep. And they just recently released their pellet smokers, and so they had the prototypes down there whenever I was down there, and so he was showing them to me. And I was like, this is interesting. What made you guys want to do this? And he said, well, last year at the Royal, like 8 of the top 10 teams cooked on pellet cookers and then finished what they were cooking on drums. So, I mean, the pellet cooker game is, in my experience in comps, the number one thing I see at comps are gravity smokers. They're insanely popular in competition. The number 2 thing I see, it varies a little bit. Combination of 270 smokers and different variety of pellet smokers. I see a lot of Yoder like YS640s out there.
Yeah. Do you have an opinion about the pellet cookers?
What's that?
Do you have an opinion about the pellet cookers one way or the other? I know people that swear by them, and then other people like can't, call them pellet poopers.
Yeah, so
I do not. That's gay.
My opinion on a pellet cooker is I like it especially for new people, because I think the biggest problem with people when they're trying to learn how to cook barbecue is that fire management and that temperature control. And if you don't get that right, you're not going to get that perfect meat. And I think that's why you find a lot of entry-ish level smokers on Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace barely use because people try to do it once, they think they can't do it, and they get out of it. And that makes me sad for them. So if they have something where they can dial in the temperature and they can follow, my video or Justin's video or Malcolm Reed's video or T-Roy's video and just follow the steps and say, okay, this was good, and then work on getting it better. I think that's fantastic for just the class of food altogether. And then I think the other the old complaint with pellet cookers used to be they couldn't put enough smoke flavor in there. But I haven't checked the science of it yet, but I know, like, for example, B&B Charcoal released pellets, and they have like different grades. They'll have apple mild and apple strong. So I don't know if they're if they are doing something to the pellets to be able to try to drive more smoke flavor in there. But I think there has been some sort of technological advancement with pellets as of late.
All right. Yeah, I think the pellet cookers you see out there now are a hell of a lot different than when they first came out 8-10 years ago. You know, now everything has a low or a high smoke setting, and then you get into your temp ranges. And, and what you said about fire management, I think is 100% spot on. You're running, if you're running a dirty fire, you don't want to turn it in anyway.
Yeah.
So it's going to taste like crap. That's all I got for right now, CJ. Let me go back through, see what I missed.
All right, cool.
Go from there.
Looks like we're holding steady at 52, 53 people in the chat, so I'm glad everybody's hanging out. It's great to have everybody here. I think everybody's pretty friendly in there and knows each other, but if you haven't subbed to somebody in the chat and you want to follow them, make sure you guys, the 3 little dots next to their comment, that'll take you to their channel, and subscribe to them. For all the players that you see up on TV here or the mods, click show more in the description, and all our links to all our channels are on there. So make sure everybody subscribe to everybody, keep that community going strong. All right, so that's what I'm going to say about that. We'll get back to your channel questions. Again, guys, if you have questions, make sure you put them towards Daddy Dutch Barbecue, make at or whatever. So just sub to this T-Roy and Baby Back guy. They're new. No one knows who they are.
Yeah, I just broke the story on them, so I'm taking credit for that right now.
Yeah, thanks for showing us the way about those 2 guys. Not to steal thunder from this chat, but those 2 guys will be on a special hot seat next Tuesday. Cool. So make sure you guys are there. And I'll talk more about that as we end the night, because we got a lot of stuff going on next week. You're going to be right want to tune in. So getting back to filming, funniest thing that has happened that we haven't seen in your edits.
Oh, Lord. So the funniest thing that happened, it still cracks me up. It was literally that very first video. I scripted the very first video. I didn't follow it exactly, but I don't script things anymore. But the very first one, I wrote it all out because I didn't know what I was doing, and I thought it'd probably be a good idea to have an idea of what I wanted to say. And so, not super proud of this, but I'm sitting there and I'm going through what I'm going to say, and it's probably like a 1.5 minute. It's a pretty long spiel for a little clip for YouTube, and I'm going through it, and I'm rambling on, or I'm rattling it off, and as I'm saying it, I'm hearing it on the delay in my head, and I said something in my brain. I'm like, that's dumb, and well, just right along with it, I was like, blah 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 blah, ribs, blah blah blah. No, that's effing stupid, but it rolled like perfectly with it, and I went back and watched that, and I was like, that's hilarious, but I can't say that on YouTube. I mean, you can, but that's not exactly what I do. But it was a little ridiculous how quickly that rolled off the tongue and flowed right into, like, I think if I would have put that clip in, nobody would have even noticed it happened. That's about it. I've random dog interactions and cat interactions trying to eat my food while I'm sitting out there.
I try to put my dog in just for Pickles Barbecue. Charlie, my dog's name is Charlie. Pickles, when he's watching my videos, thinks I'm calling him. So let's see. Cookie McCory said, I'm giving away 8x10s with this background. That's a hell of an idea, Corey. I might have to do that. We'll start charging merch with me in the background. I'm gonna stop dyeing my beard for a moment, and maybe I'll have a white beard for Christmas. Let's see. Speaking of beards, I know you have a nice beard, but you shave in the middle, or is just
so no, I don't.
Okay.
Beard is sort of standard operating procedure for software developers. If you don't have a beard and you write code, I'm questioning all the code you're writing.
There you go.
I'm gonna be looking over your shoulder checking it. No, this has never grown in. I'm a 30-year-old man and I can't grow this part of my beard. Like everything else is okay-ish, and the only thing. So when I was a kid, I totally took a dive off a bike onto some gravel, like hard, and drove some up in there. And I don't know if that did it or what. But the thing is, so I didn't grow a beard for a long time, like till I was like 25. And then because it used to not connect all the way back. And one day I just let it grow out. And it's symmetrical enough that people think I do it on purpose. And I hate to shave. So here's my beard.
I'm with you. I love it. I tend to notice the beards. Hussy's another one that I give him shit about his beard. He keeps it really high and tight. And I'm like, man, let's bring it down a little bit. Bring it down a little bit. So, anyway, and then, T-Roy has got a great beard. Big Red's got a great beard. Red has a beard that I would love to have one day, but I don't think I can do it. So,
yeah, I mean, Red's straight up like dwarven Viking.
Oh yeah,
beard of awesomeness right there.
The gingerest Viking beard there is. General Diamond, how you doing, brother? Let's see here. All right, this is my favorite question, and I'm not allowed to ask it next week. But if Hollywood were to make a movie about your channel, who would be playing you?
So when I started doing my videos, my buddy was like, "Hey, did you see where Steve dropped a new video? And we were going to go do like a performance review." He's like, yeah, no, I saw it. He's like, it definitely puts me in the mind of if Nick Offerman was doing barbecue. So Nick Offerman.
I like it. Undoubtedly, I've missed a few people that have beards in the chat. Keith Bettag has a strong beard, and Jay has pubic hair around his chin, so that's fun. And Meathead has a little beard too. So, and I'm kidding, Jay. I love you. You're all right, dude. So, let's see here. If I miss anybody else with a beard, seriously, I'm sorry. I was just making points. Let's see here. Not a real beard. Mike said Jay does not have a real beard. I'm just saying. He does wear that bath towel or bath mat when he cooks live. Everybody noticed that about Jay's channel? A little old grandma blanket or something. All right, so you've been doing it about a year now. What's kept you going, man? What's kept you grinding through
it? I see steady growth. Like I'm definitely not a fast riser as far as subs or views or anything, but it's continually going there. We hit 1,000 subs the week of the Jack, and that same week we hit the 4,000 hour mark. So that was kind of cool. But just like, I don't know, honestly, the interaction. So the community that we have, like I know most of the people in this in the chat tonight, whether I comment on your videos or not, sometimes I don't, but I watch, and so the community is just awesome. So that keeps me going some. Honestly, it's a great excuse for me to cook barbecue, try new things, so that helps. But it's that, I don't know. And again, it sort of makes me sound a little weird, but it's gaming that YouTube system. It's like, all right, we're getting a little better, we're getting a little better, we're getting a little better. Let's see if we can figure out what takes us to the next level. So there's that. And then I have a few subscribers that aren't other channels that do reach out to me and ask me questions, and it feels like I add value to some people out there. And that's really cool. I really dig that. So that probably keeps me going at it more than anything. And then now, like I said, we're gonna do some things with some companies coming up in the new year. So I don't know, just you always feel like you're getting a little more traction, I guess. And that's just if you get a little bit, you want a little more.
Right on. I'm with you on that. One of these days, I want someone just to go straight out and say, I want money. I hope you get paid one day. That'd be cool.
I want someone to pay me lots of money to just sit on my porch and cook barbecue. That would be a beautiful. I want to be T-Roy Cooks.
Yeah. Hey, Eric, Roundhouse Ranch is here. No worries. Yeah, we're going strong. I think this is going to be a longer chat tonight. I still got plenty of questions. You guys are still going strong. We're at 40 viewers, so we're doing good. I see Dave's Ohio is in the house. Did he drop the barbecue? Dave's Ohio, no more barbecue. All right. Jim EQ, Donna David, and Mike, Michael Culinary Cookhouse. We shot them out earlier. They're on a plane now, so that's cool. Cooking with Corey, smoking tips with Eric from Smoking Barbecue, and Smoking Bears. So Dave did drop it. Right on. And Leprechaun, we love you, dude. I'm just giving you a hard time. I'll give you a wet five for you, buddy. So anyway, Kent, you get any more questions?
Yeah, I'm actually, I was writing one down right now, but instead of wasting all that precious ink on that expensive Bic pen you sent me, I'll just read it. Steve, this from Hobo. He said, I remember the day when Justin, that baby back maniac, flipped his shit and told most everyone about your channel. He was seriously shocked that it was only your first video. So
yeah, I remember that too.
Yeah, that was really cool to me because I like I said, I've watched YouTube forever and I followed people and subscribed to people, but I'd never get involved in the community aspect of it. Like I'd never comment on videos and never do like any of that. And so I reached out to Justin, I think through Facebook, and I was just like, hey, I got my first video up today. I know there are things wrong with it. Could you take a look at it and tell me what's going on? And he was like, sure. Do you want feedback? And I was like, yeah, I totally want feedback. I was like, what can I do to fix it? What's wrong? And super nice guy. And to this day, just really appreciate that. It was overly nice, but it made me feel real good about my video that morning. He was really complimentary about it, and that was awesome. And then he brought me into the YouTube Cooks group, which is Hobo's group on Facebook there, and shouted me out there. And so like in the first week, I got like 100 subs from the YouTube's Cooks community, which I was like, oh my gosh, man, I got 100 subs in a week. How hard could this be? And then YouTube actually kicked in. And then so we started seeing like 1, 2, 3. I was like, oh, okay, so this is actually a thing. But then like the very next day, Dan from SmokeyGoodness gave me a shout out on his channel. He was cooking some venison up that day. And I was just like, this is ridiculous. This is awesome. So yeah, the start felt amazing. And then I looked around at other people that were making videos and I was like, man, I appreciate how nice he was to me about that, but my videos are garbage compared to some of these other people.
Well, it must be nice to have a shout out from Dan from SmokeyGoodness, who's one of my moderators, who's never said a word about my channel.
Oh, he did to me.
I might have to take the blue wrench away, Dan from SmokeyGoodness.
Yeah, I think
in the house. Jay Wade's in the house. Welcome, guys. Welcome. Sorry,
I think Steve had the wrong channel name there because he said venison instead of bison.
Oh,
so just throwing that out there. So. All right, Steve. Smoking Bears wants to know: do you have any good advice on the money muscle when cooking a pork butt?
Cooking it for comp or just cooking it in general?
He didn't say that, so give me both.
So if I'm cooking in general, I don't do a darn thing to it. I inject pork butts because I get bored, so I whip up an injection, not necessarily like a so for competitions I use Cosmo injections. They're just fantastic. But at home, if I'm just doing something I want to inject it with something, it can be as simple as apple juice, or it can be, I'll whip up a thing that's white vinegar, apple juice, a little bit of MSG, a little sugar, a little salt, and I'll shoot it up. And I'll do minimal trimming. I'll season it up just like I would for comp, but I'll let it go, and I'll just cook it to like, I'll take it up to 205, 206, and I just crush that money muscle in with everything else. And then I like to go through a pork butt by hand after I'm done cooking it, because I hate feeding something. Like, if I'm going to feed barbecue sandwiches to people, they better not find a big piece of fat in there that's unrendered. That's going to drive me nuts. So I'll go through by hand. It'll take me like, 5 minutes, 10 minutes maybe, and I'll pick through everything individually, and I'll pull that money muscle just like I would anything else. If you take it up to 206, that money muscle is going to be way higher than that. It's going to be like 210, 215, and it's just going to fall apart as soon as you touch it. And I'll just shred it like I would any of the other major muscle groups on that pork butt. Now, when it comes to comp, what I do is I go with Harry Sue's hanging Chad approach. And so I will go on, if you're looking straight at the money muscle, you'll see a little bit of a fat seam right above it. And so I'll just start cutting back on that until you find out how far back it goes, and it'll separate itself. You just follow that fat seam, and there's a few other smaller muscle groups right there with it, but you'll run into some other stuff, and it'll start to. So if this fist is the money muscle lay on the front, it'll start to lay open, and you'll get pretty far down in there on it, and you got to stop, because if you don't stop, you're going to cut it off, because then you're going to flip it over and come on the backside. And I'll start taking the bottom of it down little by little. I'll start on the fat cap, and I go slow, because if you go too fast, you're going to cut into it, and you're not going to be happy about it. So go slow, and again, you'll find another fat seam, and you'll see those vertical striations of that money muscle come through. Once you get there, stop. And so what it ends up being is just the money muscle is hanging off of the pork butt that is now like an inch taller and an inch farther on the bottom. So when you lay it down, it really lays out pretty far. And I'll cook it like that for 4 hours. At 4 hours, my bark pretty much sets. And if you temp it out, it temps out at about 165. At that point, I'll remove the money muscle. I'll wrap it, and I'll wrap the pork butt as well. And I'll go ahead and keep it cooking until that money muscle hits. And this is going to vary on what temperatures you're cooking at. It's just going to give you different numbers. But for me, cooking at 275 on Weber Smoky Mountains, 204 is where I pull my money muscles off. Pull them off, let them rest. When I pull them back out of the cooler, when it's time to build that box, I'll pull it out. I'll take a boning knife. And if you look at it, you'll be able to see, because the fat's rendered now, you'll be able to see like 2 to 3 other muscle groups that are still sort of attached to it. And that boning knife will just shave them right off. And I shave it till I get a perfect cylinder. And right now I'm realizing as I'm describing all this, if Fred is still in the chat, he has to be having a heyday with my hand motions and my terms I'm using here. But anyways, perfect cylinder. Glaze it up. And then if you don't have a sharp slicing knife, get an electric knife, because that thing is going to be so tender when you go to cut that to make your little medallions for your boxes. If you don't have a sharp enough knife, you're just going to destroy it. That's sort of a really long answer, but that's how I do it in both circumstances.
I agree with you 100%, because typically once you get your pork butt where you want it, your money muscle is going to be overcooked if you leave it in there the entire time. Mm-hmm. So I have one other question, and this one's going to require a little thought. Our friend over at Deep Sea Barbecue.
Is he in the chat?
Wants to know, if you had to eat one piece of CJ, which would it be?
If we were stuck on a deserted island, let's ask the question right.
Hey, he sent it to me in a text, and it was short. I'm just reading what's on my phone. Okay, since Mr. Perfectionist over there. Steve, if you were stranded on a deserted island with CJ, and to survive, you had to eat a piece of CJ's meat anywhere on his body, which would it be and why?
All right. I'm going to go with what I guess I'd call the Boston butt, just because that seems like the safest place. if we're stranded on a desert island and I got to eat a piece of you, I might be able to get that off and keep you alive because I'm still going to need somebody to talk to.
All right. See, now that is an answer right there.
No.
Pickles last week wanted to take my damn heart out, eat it in front of me as I die.
Yeah. Rip out that heart and eat it. You don't use it anyway. It's cold. What the hell?
Keith Bettag's talking about my money muscle. Easy. I hate that question. It makes me feel uncomfortable every time.
Yeah, I can totally see that.
It's like I don't like it.
I think that's why you asked it.
It makes me all flush and embarrassed. Are you done?
Well, I can ask a couple more.
Are you done?
Yeah.
All right. I saw a question that Kent was messing around, so he didn't see it. But Keith Bettag asked, "Do you do any other cooking besides barbecue?"
Yeah, I do. When I need to, I don't get excited about other cooking. If I use an oven, I find a way to burn myself for some reason. Cooking inside seems to elude me. I do okay. I can hold my own. I can follow a recipe. But as far as ad-libbing on like Italian cuisine or I don't really do any French dishes. I mean, yeah, not a lot. I do a few things. I do some desserts. I do some mac and cheese stuff. Yeah, I guess now I'm thinking about it, not a ton. I do it to survive at that point. I don't cook other food for enjoyment, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. That's cool. Troy and Justin, we don't have to ask that question. I'm okay with that, so don't quit. I find it very awkward when people say, "I'm going to eat this part of Justin or CJ, and I'm going to eat this part of whatever." It's not a comfortable feeling. I think Pickles really ruined that question by telling me he's going to eat my heart in front of me. So. Ugh. All right, so we're going an hour and a half. You still doing all right? You good?
I mean, yeah, if you're good, I'm good.
Yeah, man, I still got plenty of questions. We still got plenty of viewers in the chat. So we're doing good here, guys. Let's see here. I think, Christy's worried about her hot seat using her phone. It works just as well. I think a few people use their phone too, so nobody.
I didn't realize that's why she asked that question earlier. Christy, I actually thought about using my phone just because your front-facing camera is going to be better than the camera that I'm using right now. The microphone is going to be better than the built-in microphone I'm using right now. The only reason I did this on a Mac is so that I could throw up the chat in a split window. That's the only reason. I really thought about doing this on my phone or an iPad.
Right on. All right, Chef showed up. Chef Johnny from Texas Style Barbecue and Cuisine. Welcome, Chef. How you doing, brother? Scotty said he'd go for my liver because it's pickled in Crown Royal. Fair enough. I hope that Justin and Troy do not do the Lady and Tramp moment next week. That's just not okay. Son of a Pizza Man, welcome, brother. How you doing? Oh yeah, Johnny hit 16,000 subs today. So congratulations, Johnny. That's insane. I gotta tell you, man, every time I see you hit some kind of goal, I get a little jealous and excited for you at the same time. Someday I hope to be that big. So very cool. All right. Well, since we talked about if you cook inside or not, I was gonna ask you who taught you how to cook, but maybe it'd be more like who taught you how to do the grilling, barbecuing, smoking, all that jazz.
Yeah, so YouTube.
Okay.
Yeah, no. So it's not that I come from a family that doesn't cook, but they cook, and I have some grandmothers that were some amazing cooks. One day I've got to do my grandma Joe's macaroni salad. It's just amazing, and so I picked up little bits here and there, but it was never like a thing that we did together. It was, we were always running around. I'm one of 3 kids. Dad was a state trooper, so for a lot of the early part of my life, he would work night shifts, so he'd be asleep during the day sometimes. And, Mom was secretary for the Board of Education. So we were always just running around. We all had after school stuff. So, I mean, cooking was like an afterthought. Other than like Wednesdays, we'd go to my grandma's, and Sundays we'd go to my other grandma's. And those would be like family dinner type things. But yeah, no, I decided. So I've mentioned it several times, but I come from a place where there's very few barbecue joints. And there was one when I was in college that was amazing. I loved it. And Ralphie got sick and shut down. And at that point, I was like, all right, I'm a grown man. Had enough. Grown men barbecue. Let's figure this out. So about that time, Barbecue Pitmasters was a big show.
Right.
So like, all right, I love ribs. Johnny Trigg is the godfather of ribs. Let's figure out Johnny Trigg's ribs. So at that point in time, I wasn't quite into – I didn't know there was a YouTube cooking space yet. I watched YouTube for other stuff. And so I'm on all these Barbecue Brethren forums, and this is what Johnny Trigg uses, and this is how he does it. So I'm like, okay, 3-2-1 method, got it. How do I set up my Weber kettle to do this? And I didn't realize at the time, but going back and looking at pictures, I was totally on AmazingRibs.com following Meathead Godwin's guide on how to set up my kettle to do ribs. I'm like, okay, did my first set of ribs. They were garbage. It is what it is. Did a pork butt. Didn't cook it long enough. Did a turkey breast. Didn't come out right. And then I found Malcolm Reed's channel early on, back before it was the production quality that it is now. And I found Greg over Ballistic Barbecue. I found Chef Tom. I found T-Roy. So really, the YouTube cooks community is who taught me how to cook. And then from there, once I figured out some basics, then I was able to go. Like, once you figure out the basics of, fire, air, temperature control, cuts of meat, it's like, all right, let's do this. Let's see what we can riff on.
All right, cool. I see there's a little conversation going on in the chat. Troy's asking Booger if he's going to come visit, whatever. But Booger says she's flying out to see Sam for her daughter for Christmas. Booger, are you going to be in Southern California coming up this month? Because I will drive down to San Diego and hang out with you guys. I know Marion's down there too, so it'd be great to see you. Let us know. We will get there. So I think I'm going to drop that question. What is your favorite thing to cook? Or grill, barbecue, whatever.
Ribs all day.
All day.
All day. I used to talk about it so much that whenever Kenneth What's New Barbecue, whenever he would do a live stream over at on his Facebook group, North Texas Barbecue Addicts, he'd be cooking something. I'd be like, yeah, no, it's great. And he'd see that, and I'd be typing, but it's not ribs, and he'd say it before I said it. And I was like, well, okay, I've made this pretty clear that ribs are my jam. And it used to be baby back ribs until I started to get into the comp scene, just because where I'm at, like, we're not really influenced by any kind of barbecue. But if we were, it would definitely be Memphis, and the baby backs are the scene here. But I started cooking some spares for competition, and that opened my eyes, and it's spares all the way nowadays.
All right, cool. Is that your signature dish? Would like people say that's your signature dish too?
So my signature dish, if I had to say, so I love cooking for people. Like, I'll start cooking barbecue, and by the time it comes to eat it, like, sometimes I won't even eat it. I just love to serve it to people, and get a reaction. And if I had to pick one dish that I'm known for, it's actually my baby back mac and cheese, which I have on my channel, but it was back in the early part of it, and the video just didn't come together real well. And I don't think people realize quite how powerful that dish is. Like, you will blow some people's socks off if you come to the table with some baby back mac and cheese. But actually, I've been thinking on it for a few months now, and I think I actually make that better by making it spare rib mac and cheese. And I'm actually planning on doing a video on that next, like, Monday. So stay tuned for that one. But Yeah, you take that to an office potluck or somebody's house, and they're not expecting that. Yeah.
Nah, that sounds good to me, man. That's awesome, dude. All right, cool. You said you weren't much of a drinker. You got that Jack in front of you. Do you have a go-to that you like to drink, a beer or whiskey or whatever?
So I got a buddy who's a home brewer, and he makes some pretty good beer. I'm not a big hoppy guy. Like, I'm not an IPA guy. I'm more of a porter guy. But when it comes to whiskeys, I don't really mix it very much, and I'm more of a I don't know. I like the honey whiskeys. I like American honey. I like Jack honey.
Yeah.
That's sort of my jam, and just sipping on it. Like, I've done the Jameson thing. It's not quite for me. Yeah, that's pretty much where I sit. I like a good sipping whiskey.
Yeah, I'm with you. Do you enjoy cigars with it at all?
Used to. But I don't know. I got to where I enjoyed the cigar while I was smoking it. What bothers me about cigars is I can't get the taste out of my mouth for about 2 days after I smoke it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where that stopped for me.
I'm with you on that, man. I love my cigars, but I do not like the leftover effect of it. You know, it's a great, relaxing, social. It's great with your food, or not with your food, with your whiskey, and you're good to go. But the next day, you know, the mustache still kind of smells a little bit.
Yeah, that's where it loses me.
You got to get that the mouthwash going on. So yeah, for sure, I'm with you on that. All right, so you got all the money in the world. You could go out and get something. What is your guilty food pleasure? What are you gonna go get? High end, best thing you can find.
Oh man. So I have a huge sweet tooth. Like, when you said, my brain doesn't even go to main courses. It just completely bypasses that. And like, I have this debate all the time with people in my office. It's pretty stupid, but I can't decide whether donuts or ice cream are better. And so, like, last week we're like, you know what? Let's start a company where we inject donuts with ice cream.
That's awesome.
So yeah, if I had all the money in the world, I'd start the company where we started injecting donuts with ice cream and somehow frying them. That's what I'd do with all the money.
Dude, that's awesome, man. That's a good answer right there for sure.
Do that on the channel.
Hey, yeah, do it. Hey, you never know. That might be your $1 million idea that takes you out, gets you on Sweet Eats on a freaking cooking channel or something like that. So too funny. One last question. We'll go back to Kent. Christy's Cooking Channel's lifetime question. What's the best and worst thing you've ever made? So the best thing I've ever made is honestly the very first rack of spare ribs I ever cooked. I don't know what went so right with that. It was just, I was just using, I think it was Mark Lambert's Sweet Swine of Mine rub and sauce. But like, the timing on those were perfect. Those ribs, and I don't know what was special about those ribs, but they ballooned up like 3 times the size of what they were. Every one of them was perfect. And it was the first time I'd ever tried to cook competition style ribs. And I look back on that now, and there's a video of it. And I think the video, like, I've got a thumbnail of me going like this on the rib, which was a complete accident that I got that. The story of how I got that is hilarious, by the way. But they just blew my mind. And I didn't realize it until about the Weston comp, but I was like, those are the best ribs I've ever made in my life. Worst thing I've ever made. So like I was saying, back when I first started barbecuing stuff, like the third thing I tried was a turkey breast. And I don't know why I tried to cook a turkey breast, but I decided I was going to cook turkey breast. And I did it on a Weber kettle where I didn't have a good probe. I didn't have a good thermometer period to measure my grate temps. So I was just kind of guessing. And the thing about poultry, I swear to, like, people talk about brisket. Cooking good poultry is the hardest barbecue thing, because if you don't render that fat all the way under that skin, it's going to catch every bit of that smoke and just make it bitter and terrible. And then on top of that, and on chicken, if you do that, you can get away with it. Just take the skin off. You'll still have delicious chicken underneath that. But I dried this thing out like, oh, it was terrible, and it was black, and it was
It was just bad.
Yeah, I'm with you. I did that with one of my turkey breasts I tried smoking before I did the video. It just turned black as night and just way too much smoke. I ended up peeling off all the skin and then making like a little turkey au jus just to keep it edible and moist to, get it down. So I'm with you on that completely.
Yeah.
Right.
I bring people over to feed them barbecue.
Yeah.
And I just feel bad.
I know.
Like, I'm sorry.
At least, being the cooks that we are and, pretty, I think, pretty smart at what we do, we can find ways to fix if something goes wrong. There's nothing that a good gravy won't cover up a little dry meat. So
yeah. Nowadays I totally could have pivoted, but back then I was still so new to it. I was just like, well, this is what I got. Right
on. Smoking Joe's Barbecue, welcome, brother. Good to see you. I meant to call you. I'm sorry I didn't. Got a little busy today. We'll be in touch for sure. Sorry, Smoking Joe's. Kent, you got a couple questions there?
I got one left right now from Bottle Cap Barbecue.
All right, here. Hey, let me interrupt. I need another beer. You asked a question. Someone else in the chat asked a question. Keep it going for a solid 1 minute, and I'll be right back. Go ahead.
All right, now that asshole's gone, Steve, you're supposed to. Competition brisket. More classic beef jus or put a sweet sauce on it? What's your opinions on that?
So my thought on it is you keep it traditional to an extent. So competition brisket, we're gonna inject it, we're gonna wrap it with foil, and we're gonna put a mop on it when we wrap it. When we pull it out, we're gonna want to collect the jus that's in that foil. Once we do that, though, I want to let it dry, and I want to put a thin layer of my barbecue sauce on that brisket. Then once we cut our slices, we're going to go back over it with that jus, preferably with the fat separated out of it, and put it in that box. A little bit of a sweet sauce on top of that flat is going to be barely noticeable to the judge. But if you've never tried just a hint of sweet on beef, it's not weird like you'd think. It actually adds to it. And in the competition world, it's all about setting yourself apart a little bit. So if you can get just a little hint of a sweetness that tastes different than the next guy, I think it's gonna help you more than hurt you. As long as it's a good sauce.
Yeah, I agree. You don't want to. I don't think you want it overly sweet. Just that little hint of that sweet, and I think the judges are going to be like, hey, this is different. I like it.
Yep.
So, let's see what else we got. Smoking Joe. Hey, thanks, buddy. I think CJ. Oh yeah, he's done from his pee break. Hashtag pee break by Hobo.
Seriously, just got another beer. And Christy talking about tweezers and shit. He just don't know, girl. He just don't know.
Never trust a redhead. That's what I've always said. Oh wait, I married one.
I don't want to be monetized, or I put it on the channel. All right. You went mute again. I take it you were done. All right, cool. All right. Someone asked, I think I saw it run by, do you use lump charcoal or briquette?
So I use both. Here's the thing is normally I'm looking for, unless I'm cooking steak, I'm looking for something to give me a long burn. For comps, I use, so for comps, if I'm using briquettes, I use Weber briquettes. That's just a good long burning charcoal. I also like Kingsford long burning. If I'm cooking steaks or something, they have Kingsford Professional that runs like lump. It's a little hotter, but it burns out pretty quick. So I don't really use that on my long cooks. But I was experimenting. I wanted to use some B&B stuff because I've heard good things. And the only B&B that I can find around me is B&B Hickory Lump. So yeah, I got it because I got the Kamado and I got the kettle. You wouldn't typically run a lump in the Weber Smoky Mountain, but so I got it to try out. And the weird thing about this B&B Lump Hickory is it burns as long as my Weber briquettes burned. And it put a great little extra hint of hickory smoke on stuff. So these days, if I'm feeling like shelling out just a little bit more cash, and now, like I say, it's not a lot. It's like, I don't know, $12 or $14 a bag for a 30-pound bag of lump charcoal. B&B hickory lump is my go-to right now.
All right, cool. I'm watching the chat. Christy is on next Thursday, T-Roy. So just to let you know. All right. Here's a question that Hobo used to use for P-Break. 3 questions you watch. 1 big, 1 small, and 1 you think should be bigger.
Okay. Well, 1 big one I follow, and he's the reason that, well, he helped me through a lot of the basics, is How to Barbecue Right with Malcolm Reed. I think he's up to like 400 and some thousand subs. 1 medium one is Justin. Everybody gets hyped whenever the Baby Back Maniac drops a new video. That is what he's cooking a prime rib on a gas grill today, and everyone's like, you know, he's here. He's done it again. And 1 small one, I guess it all depends on how you want to define small. But I'm going to go with Steve from Not Another Cooking Show, because I think he's at like 5,000 subs. But that dude's going to blow up. He's going to be enormous. Yeah. So I'm going to throw him out as the small one.
I think he's got Binging with Babish trajectory.
Yeah, no, he's like, I don't know why he hasn't blown up as much yet, but he's about to. Like, the production quality is just too high.
Right. He, Binging with Babish, he started out real small, 5,000, 100,000, all of a sudden 3 million in like a year and a half. So I think that'll be the same thing. So yeah. I agree with you. So 1 miniature channel, we'll add a fourth one in there. Anyone around 1,000 subs or less?
Around 1,000? Oh gosh, I watch a ton of guys around 1,000. I'll tell you who I like to watch. Just the dude seems real genuine. Is Roundhouse Ranch. Eric over there just seems like a really good dude.
Yep.
Putting together some different content. I really like what he does. I don't comment as much on his stuff as I should. I watch his stuff. I just get busy before you get a chance to finish the video and leave a comment. I think about weird stuff like that. It's like I watch a lot of our people's videos, and I'm like, I don't comment on all of them, but you know, I'm there. If you don't think I'm there, I'm there. I'm watching your videos.
I don't think your dude went fishing and then didn't get what he wanted. I don't know what that means. I like Eric a lot, so it's a great choice. He's in our little group chats and stuff like that, so he's great to watch, and he's picking up more and more stuff. He's getting it down a little bit. So
I can't wait to see what he does with his RV thing.
Yeah.
And I can't decide. Did he say, is that the RV from the Dr. Pepper commercials from last year?
It's the exact one. They ripped out the steering wheel and seat, I believe. Mm-hmm. Correct me if I'm wrong, Eric. But they sent that to Dr. Pepper Hall of Fame or something like that. But he has the whole rig, and I guess it runs and everything. We heard him start it up.
Yeah.
So I am true. Like I'll talk about. He needs to do. Oh no, I didn't want Steve to say me, Hobo. I know I'm a good channel and I'm better than most, so don't worry about it. Anyway,
it'd be lame if I said the obvious answer. I mean,
yeah, right. No, everybody thinks Eric should do like a series of that deal.
Oh yeah.
Him putting it together, make it a barbecue rig, the whole bit. Like I think, especially if he puts like Dr. Pepper rig hashtag or something like that.
Oh, dude, it would be amazing. Like
that'll definitely grind through there, I'm sure.
I'm thinking about doing a series on a smoker build because I think it would be cool, and I think a lot of people like see it. But that ain't nothing to turn it in a barbecue RV. I mean, come on.
That's to me, it's great luck that he got that or whatever. But it's freaking awesome. I'd love to see. So Eric, obviously we all talk about it, but you got to do a series. You got to build that thing out and we'll start with the steering wheel and a seat. Okay, that's important. All right, brother. If you could cook with anybody in history, who would there be?
Anybody in history? All right, so this goes back to what we were talking about earlier. There's a lot. Okay, so if I had to pick one person to cook with, feel weird to say anybody who might actually watch this, but like, can I list more than one?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
This isn't a yes or no question. So
okay. So, so two off the bat, just because I want to go watch these guys cook and see what they do, and that's Darren from Iowa Smokey D's competition team and Tuffy Stone. Those are two guys. So Darren just knows what's going on. The dude just wins constantly, and I'd love to see what he does. Tuffy is more. He's your classically trained chef, and he's going to understand why you're doing what you're doing, and so that's more like an artist to me, and I want to see that. But like, I want to go cook with Kenneth over at What's New Barbecue. We've talked about that before. I'd love to cook with, Malcolm, just because I learned a lot of what I've done from Malcolm reading How to Barbecue Right. Chef Tom, I mean, like everybody in this chat, essentially, like if you gave me the opportunity and I could do it, I would go cook. I was actually trying to go cook with Red earlier this year. I had some training in the DC area, and it ended up getting rescheduled. But I was going to go hang out with Red and cook the Red.
Dude, that would have been awesome.
Yeah,
he got together with Rich, West Virginia smokers.
Rich is the only YouTube guy I've got to meet, and Rich was an awesome dude. He actually helped me a lot when I was figuring out the competition thing. Helped me out a bunch. And we got there and we got set up. I was like, he's probably here. And I thought I saw his RV, so I walk over there. And I was like, excuse me, sir, are you Rich from Rich's River Smokers, West Virginia? And he was a super cool dude. He's showing me the ropes. Something, this is how it goes. He came over and got me in the morning. He's like, come on, man, they're giving us breakfast. Let's go get some breakfast. So that was really cool. We didn't get to cook together because, he was doing his thing, I was doing mine. But we definitely got to trade some barbecue at the end of the day, and that was cool. I definitely would love to do that with more people that we interact with in our community. But, it's different to get to, actually sit down and cook something, enjoy a meal with somebody than just, it's cool that we communicate through comments and groups and stuff. But to actually sit down with someone, that's awesome. That's what I told Red. I was like, I didn't even say, Red, you want to make a video if I come? I was like, you want to go get something to eat and just hang out. Right.
I'm with you on that. We did that little Southern California hangout and having Marion and Josh and Baby up here. That was a good time. I'd open my house to any of the YouTubers that want to come to the West Coast, but you see the people in their regions kind of hooking up, but someday, like, goal is to make it cross country. Iowa, Ohio, Texas, just work our way up and down, end up on the East Coast, and then come on back. I think that'd be a good time. And document it, but maybe just do like one video of like our trip across America, type thing. So, the YouTube thing is really provided like good friends. Like Josh and Babe, we now hang out with them. They came to our wedding reception. We were at their house last weekend. Like, we've gone to Vegas. Like, it's been a good, I don't know, a good thing, for lack of a better way of putting it. I think, Keith Bettag has his yearly Labor Day party, and, people go out there. Hobo was there. I think Tom said he was there too. That's just us. Tango Joe was there. That's just a cool deal right there. So I would love to do that stuff right there.
Yeah. No, if you find yourself out on the East Coast, holler at me. We'll
man.
Get together somehow. Living where I live, I'm used to driving several hours to go find stuff. So if you get anywhere close, we can meet up. That's what Rich and I tried to meet up earlier this year, and I just had a whole bunch of random stuff going on, again, with my daughter in hospital stuff. But we missed that opportunity. But, yeah, anytime I have a chance to get in touch with one of the people that, we hang out with on here, I think it would be super cool.
Yeah, I think so too. And just, seeing how, different sides of the country do their thing, it's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Cooking with James said, what happened to playing poker in Arizona? Hey, I'm down to come around. Arizona's not that far from me. It's probably about a 5-6 hour drive. How far are you guys away from Rich?
About 3 hours from Rich.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
Nah, I'll actually probably see him at the April comp I'm doing, and it'll be in Hagerstown, which is his backyard.
Right on. Well, everybody in the chat, you guys, obviously you guys get to hang out with each other in your regions, but make them flights across country. We are talking about doing an Austin trip this weekend, or not this weekend, this next year coming up. I don't know where I came up with this weekend, but we are definitely going to try to make it out to T-Roy and Justin and Kenneth, all them, try to get around and hang out with all them. So, and I found out Harry Sue lives like an hour away from me, so I'm trying to get. I've reached out to him to get on the hot seat, but I'd love for him to do it here and just film it like in my kitchen, because that guy goes a mile a minute. It's freaking awesome. I love watching him on Justin's channel, so I think that would be cool. So I don't have a date yet for when we're going to Austin, but it's definitely on the bucket list for next year. Got a lot of stuff going on, but I would love to get out there for sure. Not just to see obviously our YouTube friends, but I've always wanted to go to Austin. I hear it's a dope spot, so I would love to check it out. So that's kind of why we're going to Austin. But hey, can I have a day to go play with my friends, honey? So that's kind of what we're looking for.
Yeah,
so,
I'm trying to get. Funny you mentioned Austin specifically. I'm trying to get work to pay for me to go to some training in Austin next year. Nice. And I'm like, man, if I can get to Austin, there are so many YouTubers I need to hit up. Like if I'm gonna be able to get out there on somebody else's dime, I gotta make my rounds. So we'll see if that pans out.
I'm with you too. I always try to get my company to get me out in the world too, but I'm with you on that. Chef Johnny said, let me know when I come out there so he can load his gun. Chef Johnny, I'm sleeping on your couch when we come out there. All right. Let's get back to the questions. I'll ask Meathead's question. Who would be on your personal Mount Rushmore? 4 people that you find you love, admire, whatever.
Oh man, that's a tough one. Okay, so my dad would be up there. This is kind of. I'm trying to think of people that you guys would have any idea. Let's see.
I've tried.
I don't know. Who would I put on my personal Mount Rushmore?
Say wife.
Nah, she's not gonna watch this.
All right, never mind.
Nah, she yeah. God, that's a tough one.
But it's not a question where we need like hard thought on. If you don't got it, dude, you don't got it.
Nah, I don't know.
Not worried about it, brother.
Pretty solid the way it is.
Hey, your pops is a good man. Get him on there. That's all that matters. All right, I got a couple more questions, but guys, make sure if you have any more questions for Steve, put them in the chat. We're coming up on the 2-hour mark. Kent, do you have anything from the chat? You got 2? All right, go ahead and ask them right now. Then I'll finish it out.
All right. First one is Kris over at East Wind Farms. He wants to know, is that actually a Wonder Woman hat you're wearing?
That's cold-blooded. Clearly, you are from Pittsburgh. Nah, that's a West Virginia hat. That's one thing about the state is there's not a whole lot of us here, but by God, West Virginians love West Virginia. Like there's a I can't remember who said, but somebody recently said Americans need to love America like West Virginians love West Virginia. So I just try to represent.
I like it. That's sweet.
Steve, I'm sorry, that question was for CJ.
I'm wearing a Wonder Woman hat.
Okay. All right. Jimmy Q wants to know, Steve, do you make your own sauce and rubs, or do you use a blend or just commercial?
So I do, if I want to play around, I'll make my own sauce and rub. If I'm looking for a specific flavor profile, you know, I'll mess with it and tweak. I'll usually tweak an existing rub, or I'll take like a real common template. Like for rubs, I'll start off with Meathead Godwin's Memphis Dust, and I'll add in stuff that I want to accent that. But if the question was regarding like competition stuff, I run straight commercial stuff from people who have been there and know how to win.
Well, you alluded to this gentleman earlier, but the godfather of ribs, he said, why would I make my own? These people already put the science, the money, the effort into it, and they make good rubs.
It's exactly right. It's exactly right. I mean, if guys are winning championships with it, why would I try to improve that as an amateur?
Exactly. Exactly. Let me double check. I'm done.
Are you sure?
That's it. They're not asking. I can't force them.
I'm seeing the cilantro thing in the chat. I'll go ahead and weigh in on that one. Just I don't even know if it was asked to me, but I am one of the people who, like, was it the 20% of us that have the weird gene or genetic adaptation to where cilantro tastes like soap to me. So when I go to a Mexican joint, I go to the ones that don't add cilantro, and it kills me a little bit because I know it's good because everybody else goes bananas over cilantro. So it's got to be just amazing. But for me, it tastes like soap.
I don't have a feeling one way or the other on it. I usually just kind of kick it off whatever's on my plate, but I don't go out of my way, and I don't go out of my way to buy it either. But kind of how I feel about it. All right, cool. All right, Ken, so you're done. There you go.
One more. I missed it earlier, I guess, from Cooking with James. He wants to know, Steve, would you ever stuff a brisket?
Would I ever stuff a brisket? So here's the thing. The brisket takes so long to cook. And of course, you can cook it hot and fast or whatever, but that doesn't change the fact that compared to other things, it's going to take so much longer to break that down and get it right. So even if you're cooking it hot and fast, it's going to take way longer than what you might stuff it with. So if I were going to stuff a brisket, it would have to be something that isn't really going to change over the course of time. So like cream cheese you could probably do because it's going to hold its shape. It's not like you can't overcook cheese. It's going to be cheese. It's already processed. But like as far as spinach or like if you wanted to try to turducken that thing for some reason, no. But when I think of brisket, I just think of slices. Like if I was going to stuff a piece of beef, I would go with something that I wasn't going to cook for nearly as long, like a full tenderloin or something.
It's just a tri-tip, and it turned out excellent.
Yeah, things that you're going to eat at like a medium or a medium rare, I think lend themselves perfectly to being stuffed or pinwheeled or whatever you want to do. Things that you're going to take clear up to 200 degrees, I just don't know if it would lend itself well to it. At that point, I would rather come up with a sauce or something to lay over the top of it if I was looking for something different. That's just brisket's a really interesting cut of meat. It's garbage until you get it up to those magic 200 numbers. And I just don't think that the long cook lends itself well to a stuffed situation.
I agree. He asked that, and I'm like, I saw it, and I'm like, are you serious? I don't think it'd work out that well with that longer cook.
Yeah, I think you'd have some weird result. At that point, even if you stuff it like cream cheese, I think it would. I think as the collagens broke down in the meat, I think the cream cheese would like sink down into it. I don't know. It might come out okay, but that's the only thing I can think that you could stuff it with that would be okay-ish. Like spinach or tomatoes would just disintegrate by the time it was done cooking.
Yeah. So, all right, Cooking with James. That's your next video. Stuff a flat at least, and show us how it turns out. Damn it. So, all right. That's all I got. So.
All right, cool. Keith Bettag does not like cream cheese. Sorry, I had to say it to point it out. Sorry, Keith. That's funny.
Cream cheese. Don't eat that shit.
Cream cheese. Don't eat that shit. I love it.
Keith Line.
All right. All right, guys. I got one last question, and then we'll kind of shut it down. So one last question. Who would you like to see on the hot seat?
Well, yeah. So who I'd like to see on the hot seat, you're having them on there next Tuesday. So if I had to pick somebody else besides Justin and Troy, and of course Christy's going on after that, so that's cool. It would be pretty cool. You've had a lot of good people on there. Chef Tom from All Things Barbecue would be interesting, just because, like, a classically trained chef, like, his answer would be way different than my, Buster self talking about barbecue.
Right on. I'll reach out. That's all I can do is reach out to these bigger guys.
Yeah. I mean, when I can still remember when Hobo got Malcolm on, I was just like, all right, that's pretty cool.
I'm with you on that one. That's cool. Smoking Joe's Pit Barbecues here. So that's Joe 1 and Joe 2. Smoking Joe's Barbecue, not Pit Barbecue, but barbecue. They're both here. Nigel, I have reached out to Harry Sue, haven't heard back. So we'll just have to play that one by ear. All right, guys. Kent, you got any last words?
No, other than no last questions anyway. Hold on. Got some idiot in the chat. Thanks, Kris. Hobo. Time his ass out of here. We don't need that shit.
Just block him.
Exactly. So, Steve, good talking to you. Loved your answers, especially being another barbecue guy. There's, I would say, probably about 95% of what you said I agreed with. So, nice to know I'm not the only goofy one in the world.
There you go.
Right on. All right, Steve, you got anything you want to say to people on the way out?
Nah, man, this has been a blast. I don't really get to interact. I don't really interact with my audience like this. Everything's so pre-canned. So, I mean, I appreciate the opportunity to go ahead and just sort of let them know who I am, man. Appreciate you having me on. Appreciate everybody for being in the chat and participating.
Right on, right on. All right, guys. Well, that's it. We're coming up on the end. We're a little over 2 hours, so thanks for sticking around as long as you guys have. It's been a great time talking with you, Steve. Awesome. And again, thank you so much for stepping in tonight. I'm glad we didn't have to wait 4 months to get you on. It's very cool. Very cool.
Man, he hit me up with April. I was like, come on, man.
Yeah, I know, right? So, I mean, that just kind of speaks to what we're doing here, and that's such a great thing. And I really appreciate everybody for supporting. And we're going to keep growing this thing. We're going to keep growing and doing fun things for sure. I will be putting the Hangouts link in the chat. Jump on when we're done. When this goes dark, jump on. Other than that, next week, we have a big week, okay? We have 3 hot seats next week. We have one on Monday with Michael Petrie from Heaven Made Products. I had that scheduled for a while, and I like doing special hot seats for people that can't make it on Thursday nights or whatever. So it's fine. We've had that done. Now we have on Tuesday night, we have Justin from Baby Back Maniac, and we have T-Roy Cooks. T-Roy's going to Justin's house, and they'll be on together. So I'll be promoting all this stuff and on our little channels and all that stuff. But if you guys see anything you can share with your people, let's have a big crowd here next week. And then, of course, next Thursday, the one, the only Christy's Cooking Channel will be on. As much as I love Justin and Troy, I'm so looking forward to having Christy on. You don't even know. It's going to be a good time. So a lot of things going on next week. I appreciate you guys coming and sticking and staying and supporting. It's going to be a rare occasion when we have 3 hot seats, but this is what we do. We want to bring our community together and bring people in on this so they can get to know their fans, their people, watching. So it's going to be a good time. We'll have plenty of beers and whiskeys next week. Hope your liver's ready, Kent. We'll be good to go. And that's it, guys. Thanks for coming by tonight. Thanks again, Steve and Kent, all my moderators, all the people in the chat. Thanks again. Y'all have a great night. We'll see you on Monday. Take care.